We just lucky that these are games from the 80s and not now, because then we'd be super fucked, because Kratos don't play and neither does any of them Mortal Kombat motherfuckers. What's going on, everybody? It's the Granddad Woolly, and you are here again for another edition of Woolly Reviews Film Data. Today we got a movie review today. We're going to be talking about a brand new movie that just dropped on some action, comedy, sci-fi, video game shit. I saw it, I was like, yo, this shit looks intriguing, and you know I love me some video games, so I had to holler at the shit. Talking about the new movie, Pixels. Now, Pixels is a movie that stars Adam Sandler and Kevin James and a whole bunch of other motherfuckers. And basically, the premise of this movie is that real-life video games are sitting down from an alien life force to attack the Earth because we fucked up back in 1982 and we sent them a video and they thought we were starting beef. And shit got real. And it's up to a select group of video game champions from the 80s to come back and save us all from a video game terrible death. So let's talk about this shit and see if Pixels is that business. So the movie centers around a character by the name of Sam Brenner. He's played by Adam Sandler, and his character back in the 80s was one of the top arcade game champions of all time. Now fast forward 30 years, he installs TVs and video games, and he's pretty much a loser. And his friend Cooper, who was also a gamer, ends up being the president of the United States, which is fucking weird as hell because they're still best friends. They hang out, but he just hangs out with the president like it's cool. So that's pretty much his life. But he's pretty much not too happy with how it's going. He pretty much feels like his glory days are over because back in the 80s he was the shit. Now he ain't shit. So as the movie goes on, Galaga, the actual fucking video game from back in the day, Galaga actually appears in a random city, actually as a fort or a base or some shit, and it attacks the area, and nobody knows what's fucking going on. And it turns out that back in 1982, during a video game championship that Brenner and his friends, including the president at the time, had attended, that video was sent to a spaceship in NASA and out into space for, I guess, alien life forms to see how we live and what we fucking like and what we do. Well, some aliens got it, and they took it as a declaration of war, and now 30 years later, they want beef, and they bringing down versions of those video games to attack us for us to play against them. And if we defeat these monsters, then we save the world. If not, the aliens take over the planet and destroy us all. So that's pretty much the premise of the movie. From that point, it sort of fits the formula of a standard Adam Sandler movie. Adam Sandler is some dude who's pretty much a nobody. Some shit happens where he ends up being important now, and he ends up saving the day, and he usually brings his friends along to be part of the actual situation. Pretty much any Adam Sandler movie you've seen, it plays out in this form. The only unique part about this movie, Pixels, though, is it really lends to more action than comedy. They do have the comedy here, but some of the jokes here fall flat. It isn't as funny as, you know, some of his other movies, but it really picks up with the actual sci-fi video game element and actually the action portion of it. And that part actually kind of plays off better than the actual comedy portion of it. Sandler's dynamic with Kevin James' character and Peter Dinklage character, who plays, I think, Eddie the Fire Blaster, who was like his rival back then. They have good chemistry together, but some of the jokes here are just not that funny. Some of them are really, really funny. Some of them are just like, eh. But I do like how they incorporated the old school video games like Pac-Man and Galaga and Centipede, and they did it in a live action, really cool version way. And I think his character, Sam Brenner, really has this redemption moment in him by doing this character and playing this role and actually stepping up to save the Earth, because he felt like all those skills he had back in the 80s when he was just a kid playing video games were pretty much useless up until now, and now he's found sort of a purpose in life. He also has a love interest, like in every other fucking Adam Sandler movie. He falls in love with some chick who pretty much hates him in the beginning, and then he does some shit for them to end up falling in love. All the same elements of an Adam Sandler movie are here, and that's the thing that kind of pulls it back from me, because he doesn't stray away from his formula. He just kind of puts it in different aspects and versions, and this is the situation with this. Pixels has a lot of good special effects on here. I really like how they took the video games and incorporated. They still have that pixelated version, but they really do look real, and the fact that they make them so dangerous and threatening, and it makes it really a live action sequence when they actually are doing these battles, it really is a cool thing, and it's a very unique premise to an actual movie. Like, video games come down and they just fucking attack the Earth. It's got a nostalgia feel to it for anybody who's played those old school Atari games. It's got a lot of good references in there from those old school elements, and it's just really cool to see. And you also get to see a little bit of a dynamic with a generational gap of how games are now and before, with Adam Sandler's character and his love interest son. He's into, you know, the Xbox and the PlayStation shit, you know, the shit we play now, and he's into the older games, and you can just see that dynamic and how they really play on each other as, oh, these games were better than these games back in the day, or these games don't make sense. You know how old niggas think that shit was better than the shit now. Nigga, PlayStation is the shit. Don't fucking hate. But it is a really cool movie for people who like those old school video games and to see how it would play out in this type of situation, even though it's very far-fetched. It's just a cool thing to see, and it looks really nice. The effects are really good. And I did like the ending of the movie. It was a really good ending, even though it was predictable for Adam Sandler movie. It still was a really good ending, and a motherfucking character or a video game character that I can't absolutely stand is the boss at the end of this shit. If you watch my Game with the Granddad videos, let's just say he's half a bitches and problems. And I don't stand that motherfucker, so I'm glad they took care of that bitch at the end. So that was a redeeming climax for me just off that. But for the most part, this is a really good movie for what it is, but it's nothing really different than what you would expect from an Adam Sandler movie. The only different elements is the incorporation of the old video games and the action. It's a lot of action in here, but the comedy is meh and the story is predictable. But hey, what are you gonna get? It's the Adam Sandler movie, and you know, you get what you get. So my final verdict, I'm not saying that Pixels is an overall pretty decent, very nostalgic feeling movie with a lot of comedy that just kind of falls flat. All I'm saying is that I like how they incorporated the old school Atari games, especially the games that nobody probably gives a fuck about anymore or even knows existed. And I also like the fact that they really incorporated the action scenes really well in here and was shot very good as far as the action scenes are concerned. The comedy on here is a lot of misses, more than hits, and it's just the Adam Sandler movie, so the formula and how it plays is very predictable for me. And it just has all the same elements that you would get in any Adam Sandler movie. But for the most part, it is an entertaining movie, and you can watch it. I wouldn't pay to see it again, but I will watch it again if it came on because it does have that nostalgic feeling for the video games, and half of bitches and problems got taken down. So all I gotta really say is that for me, Pixels is not Granddad approved, but I will give it a Granddad recommended. So go check it out. It's out right now. It's not worth the popcorn and the drink, but drop the $11.50 on it. You can go see that. And I mean, don't expect to laugh too much, but if you are into old school video games, you will appreciate that. And it is an entertaining movie, and the action is pretty good too. So I got nothing more to say. Pixels is Granddad recommended, so go check it out. Flip it. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and drop a comment. Tell me what you think of Pixels if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, like I said, it's out right now. It's got a lot of good video game references from back in the day. So if you're a gamer, or especially back in the day, you really appreciate that. No, it's not as funny as it should be, and the story is mad predictable. But for the most part, it's a pretty decent movie, and it's a good one watcher, if anything. Previous videos on the side as well as my music video. Check those out, show them some love. And as always, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, Instagram. Links in the description below. And subscribe. Button on the screen, button below, Woolly Reviews, twice a week, gaming channel, check that out, especially now because we talk about video games and I got nothing more to say. So until next time I take my leave, Granddaughter, Pixels, let's just hope this shit don't happen in real life because I do not want Kratos or Scorpion or anybody coming after me because we supposed to be cool. I'm out of here.